Yeah, my name is Charlotte Tamason. Most people call me Char, and I'm an intuitive healer. I'm a meditation teacher. I'm a mother. I've many, many roles. And what I do with my work with the intuitive healing and the workshops and things that I do is I work with spiritual energy. We call in the spiritual energy, we allow it to move through our bodies, and then we ask it for guidance. That's the intuition part. Because when we're fully connected and fully present, and we have that connection coming in, it can it can move mountains. It's really just like this miracle flow that takes us through. So we ask the body questions, we get guided to go places, and basically questions come through me so that I can guide clients to go deeper and really uncover things that are keeping them stuck. It can be physical healing, it can be mental, emotional, really whatever is causing distress or disease. If we can get really, really present, and if it's the right time, then we can shift that. We can always shift something. We just, for example, in a single session, I can't make promises that we're going to cure cancer, right? Because there's so many layers in some of the things that we have. But yeah, it's really awesome. I love what I do, and I love seeing what comes out of it for people.
And how did you get started? Like when did you get started, I guess?
I got started in this line of work when I was 30 years old. It was by force. It wasn't really by choice. I was bedridden with nerve pain, so severe that I couldn't bend my head because
Wow.
my body would just jolt in pain. And while I was laying in bed, I discovered a course on energy healing online, energy healing, intuition, and spirituality. And just doing the first 30 minutes of the master class, my pain levels dropped from probably about a 9 out of 10 to about a 4 out of 10. And I said, okay,
Wow.
I'm in, I'm
Wow.
signing up. Yeah, yeah. And I was 2 weeks in, and I said, I kind of did this reflection. The topic was intuition. And I said, okay, I hear you. I I will commit my life to this. And I felt like my life changed overnight. It's not that everything became like instantaneously easy, but I stopped feeling like I was just hitting my head up against a wall. Like
Wow.
I just felt like I was getting roadblock after roadblock. And I truly was. I mean, I really believe it was the universe or God, whatever word you use, saying you cannot walk forward down this path anymore. So yeah, I dove into that. I started doing classes. I did my own meditation, my own self work, started working with friends and family when I was um, feeling like too much of an imposter still to actually have clients. And I would say I finally started having clients and doing this professionally. When was it? About 6 years ago?
Okay. And
Yeah.
and I guess because you've mentioned this, and I think it's something that comes up for a lot of people, right? This imposter syndrome. How did you walk yourself through that process as well?
For me, I mean, I one of the things that really helped me was sort of like this an idea that helped me kind of flip the switch when I got too much into the imposter syndrome. And that idea was, because I was like, I'm not fully healthy, I'm not like this walking pinnacle of health. Who am I to call myself a healer? But then someone asked me, they're like, do doctors never get sick? Do
Yeah.
psychologists and psychiatrists not have problems? And I thought to myself, oh yeah, actually, I know a psychiatrist that helps a lot of people who has a lot of mental issues. Like these things are not mutually exclusive, right? We can have our own baggage, our own human side, and still really, really help other people. And I also I knew intuitively that my healing would only come. I got to a point where my healing kind of stagnated. And so I knew that the next step would only come if I started working more with others and getting
Interesting.
myself out there. But it's hard, right? Because it's scary. And I think, with intuition, we can follow our inner path and we can hear this guidance. And things that feel bad are an intuitive no, but things that feel right might be followed up literally 2 or 3 seconds later by fear.
Yeah,
So it's
that's true.
learning to distinguish between, what truly feels right, what truly feels wrong, and what feels right, and then ignites all this fear inside of me
And
because
what
it's
helps you connect with that intuition? Like, do you have a particular practice, or yeah, how did you get better at that connection and kind of hearing that intuition that guided your path?
yeah. Well, for me, I always carve out time to meditate. I've been meditating almost every single day for probably the last 13 years, I would say.
Mm.
So that's a really, really important practice for me is just quieting and listening.
Mm.
Not even quieting the mind necessarily, because sometimes you just can't do that, but just sitting with my mind and watching it and allowing it to go and move and kind of seeing, because the mind the mind is going to be more active the more triggered we are. And so realizing, okay, I'm afraid of something. Something is being stirred up. That's why my mind is so busy right now. And recognizing those periods, avoiding them a little bit at first, because it's always, we always
Mm.
do that. It's always uncomfortable. And then saying, like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to go within. And for me, it's when I really go within, I often journal and do some like energy work on myself, just sort of tune into these different places of my body, sort of talk to whatever sensations I'm having, ask, what are you trying to tell me? What's there? Is there an emotion here? Where can, where do you want me to go with this? What can we do? And prayer is a big thing for me as well.
Mm. And for instance, for someone who comes across your work for the very first time, and they're a bit curious, but what's something that I guess you wish people knew or people realize, or maybe a myth that you want to dispel before they come
Mm,
to you? Because I guess people make so many assumptions, especially if you just read someone's title, right? You think, oh, it's that kind of person. What is something that you would want to kind of clarify about what you do and what you offer, so that people know that, and
yeah.
then it helps them come to you?
That's a great question. Um, I wish people knew the innate power within them, like just how powerful, just how strong, just how transformative that is. And that's the power that we tap into together. I call myself a healer, but that simply means that I am a space holder
Mm.
for you or for whomever else to heal. And so that's what we do together. And it's, a lot of people also, in terms of myths, they say, well, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy, or I can't go there. But when somebody can really hold space for you and get really present, you can go there. And information and feelings and everything you need just begins to come through.
Mm.
I
Wow.
find that people are almost everyone I work with is really surprised at how much comes through for them.
Yeah. And the unexpected things that come through as well, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Because sometimes we set an intention for this, and then all of a sudden this relationship comes up that needs to get resolved before we can go here, right?
Yeah.
So you just begin to see how all these little things are tied in together.
Wow. And we mentioned this before, but maybe if you could share, again, I know you referred a little bit to your own story and that sort of healing journey. So if you could maybe share a little bit more, whether it's part of your own story or perhaps one of your clients' journey, whether you call it a journey to healing or that transformation for them, so that people listening to this, they can, it becomes a bit more real for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one person pops up into my mind right away. Two women do actually. And one woman came to me. Her daughter was about 1.5, and she was just really having a hard time still transitioning into motherhood. She'd gone through some postpartum things that she didn't have enough support with. And she came and saw me. And I remember we worked with things, and she just said, "Oh, my eyes hurt. My eyes hurt," as we were working together. And we literally just focused on her eyes. We ended up doing some ancestral healing, some energy healing, all these different things came through. And on the third session, I remember she cried, and all of a sudden, it was like her eyes changed shape and color.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And she said, and I remember her telling me afterwards, she said, "I'm a new person. I'm a new
Wow.
mother." It was like her relationship with her daughter had shifted. I mean, her daughter was very tiny, but just, the stress and the pain and what she was carrying in association with that had just been lifted. Um, so
Beautiful.
yeah, it really, I love her. She's a very special woman and a very powerful woman. So that was one. And another one, I'm not even sure if she will give herself the credit for this power, but she came to me when she had breast cancer. And we did several sessions together. And I think it was also probably around the third or fourth session where her intuition came in very strongly visually. So she would see all these scenes when she closed her eyes. It was almost like being in a trance. And I remember we got to her chest in this session, and she said, "I see shadows. I see black shadows flying up into the air, leaving my body, out of my chest." And intuitively, I knew that was the energy of the cancer leaving her body.
Wow.
And she was doing conventional medicine too. I'm very much um, a believer for myself and for others in conventional medicine. There's a reason that it's there. And so when she actually had the mastectomy and she had the little remaining pieces of the tumor removed after her treatments, the doctor took it out and said, "There's no cancer left here." He said, "Normally, we get these tumors to shrink down, but like it's still cancer." He says, "There's no cancer here." And I
Wow.
know, I know she did that. I know she did that with her power.
Amazing. What a
Hmm.
nice story.
Yeah.
And what would you say? I've asked this before as well, the other ladies that I've interviewed. Um, what would you say for someone who's thinking about reaching out, or someone, I think most of us know that we need help with something, and you're supposed to reach out, but you just don't, like there's something stopping you, right? What would you say? What what would you share for someone thinking, okay, I really need to do something, but that last push or that, what could you say to them?
I think it's an internal question, and I think you kind of go within, and this is an intuitive trick that I often use. Like, I close my eyes and I imagine myself not doing anything, not reaching out, just kind of going down the same path that I'm on. And I breathe and I feel in my body and I just notice how that feels. And then I go, okay, noted. I kind of crumple it up, throw it out. I breathe in again and I say, okay, and what would it feel like if I did reach out to this person, if I did, have this consultation, choose to work with this person? And I notice how that feels in my body.
Wow.
Um, and I trust what comes in, because if it's an icky feeling, then of course working with that person is not the way to go. And that's come in for me before also, right? Because I work with people too, you work with people, like we all do. We have to keep
Yeah.
ourselves, yeah, healthy and able to serve others. So, but I noticed that with the right answer, it's almost like you can breathe deeper, your chest automatically expands, your shoulders get lighter, and you go, okay, this is the way to go. And if that's still not enough, you can ask yourself, what feels more scary? Like going to see this person right now, or holding on to this and having to keep bearing it for the rest of my life?
Wow. That that I can almost feel that because like it's such a great exercise, right? To do, yeah. you know. Okay. Oh, thank you. And I guess final question or final point is just if you could maybe share for people who are interested in maybe working with you. What does that look like? Is it a one-off session? Is it a program? How do you work with people? And where could they reach you? What's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, thanks. I can do one-off sessions, especially if it's sort of like, okay, it's this one thing we can go in, we can see, or just a session for curiosity. Um, Normally, if people are in the middle of something like an illness, a divorce, a loss, something like that, it would be better to do multiple sessions because, that's such a process and
Mhm.
things come up in layers. Um, I also have a program that I'm launching in January called Love Your Body. And that's about changing our relationships with our bodies. So going from, feeling like exercise and eating well is a chore to things that we actually enjoy doing, because not only do we understand, but we fully feel and sort of embody that our bodies are our best friend, and that they're there to support us and hold us and take us through this journey of life. So that would be what's coming up in January, but of
And
course,
how
with
long is
any,
that program? Is that how many
uh,
weeks or?
reach out to me personally for that. Yeah. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Right.
You can find me on Instagram at Health by Intuition, Facebook at Health by Intuition, healthbyintuition.com, or send me a personal email, char at healthbyintuition.com. And also, of course, I help with people that are going through physical issues as well.
So it's both working those emotional issues as well as physical
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah. Because most of our physical issues have an emotional component to them. In fact, all of our physical issues have an energetic component. And it's really our body showing us what's wrong by giving us that exact symptom that sort of gives us hints into what our spirit needs.
Yeah. And just one final question. How would you explain intuition, people?
That's a great
Yeah,
question.
I forgot to ask before.
It's something I should probably remember to start with. I describe intuition as that knowing, that inner knowing that always wants what's best for you.
Mm.
So, and it's really, it's inner because it comes through us from within, but it's really, when I visualize it, it really comes from up here. It's that connection with the higher power and that voice, those visuals, those feelings that come through directly from that source that always wants what's best for you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you.
And thank you for spending 20 minutes sharing a bit about what you do. And yeah, we will hopefully reach many people and share your message.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank
It's always lovely
you.
to connect with you.